To turn these ones on.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, I'll say it again. For the people online, we're going to give it just a minute or two for other folks to join in person. Hello. Right. We do actually have a quorum. So we can get started. Welcome to the November 12th Transit Technical Advisory Committee. Let's go ahead and get started with introductions in the room. I'll kick it off. Dana Teray with SCTCA, and I'll pass it to Jared.
Hi, Jared Hall, Petaluma Transit Manager.
Rachel Eade, Santa Rosa City Bus.
Chris Barney, SCTCA.
Steven Schmitz, Sonoma County Transit. David Davenport, from Gatebridge Highway and Transportation District.
Before going to the screen, just a note about the mics. There's like a couple second lag if you turn it on and off, so it's a little easier if you just leave it on. And if the green light's not on, it's not on. All right, so if folks online would like to introduce themselves.
Adam Garcia, SCTCA.
Britt, SCTCA, passing it to Araceli.
Araceli Vasquez, Petaluma Transit. And I'll pass it over to Camille.
Me Sullivan, Petaluma Transit.
All right, great.
And Jacob Brown with Golden Gate.
Oh, thanks, Jacob. Didn't see you there.
Dave Sorrell, San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission. Good morning.
Morning. All right. Any public comments on items not on the agenda? I don't see any public. So let's go ahead and move on to approval of the meeting notes from the October 8th meeting.
Motion approval.
Second.
Any opposed? All right, great. Then moving on to item number 4, and that 4.1 is the web tool for travel analysis called Patterns, and we're going to see a presentation from Adam Garcia.
All right, hello everyone. SCTCA wanted to bring this to your attention. It's a big data travel model tool that we have a subscription through. It's through Bentley, which we also have our main travel model tool. So it comes at a reasonably lower cost to access this big data, say, than other big data providers that you might have heard of, such as Streetlight. So, and please feel free to interrupt at any time with questions as well. So this, I'm going to share my screen in just a second, but essentially what it offers, you can see in the staff report a number of different analytic outputs around traffic volumes, kind of flow maps, which are kind of the origin and destination matrices, and some data around VMT, though hopefully that will improve in the future. So without further ado, I will share my screen. And so here we come to our area of interest, at least initially. We have the whole state of California that we're given access to. So what this shows in the chloropleth map is kind of a density output of counts per square mile of trips. So Orange County down here, for instance, Alameda, those are some of the highest trip generating counties by density. But if we wanted to say, okay, well, what about our county? We can see here, in terms of the outgoing trips, I apologize if that's going to be hard to see. I can try to zoom in a little bit. I'm not sure if that's going to help with the pop-up. Does a little bit. So around 1,200,000 trips, which is comparable to what we see in our travel behavior study addendum, which is based off streetlight data. So comparable information. What's interesting here is then to show what we have is kind of what we call the spider plot. Zoom out a little bit. So what this is telling us is that internal and round trips of those 200,000, there's about 1,100,000 of those are internal and round trips, so they stay in the county. So these are specifically outgoing trips. So when we go to the next second ranked destination, you can see Marin County there with about 27,000 trips, and then going down San Francisco, Napa, Mendocino, Solano, and so forth. And so the thickness of the line, we can zoom in a little bit, also gives you a sense of then the number of trips as well. So it's corresponding. We can switch to incoming trips as well, specify day of week, the part of the day, the trip purpose, of which there are several. So that gives us a good sense. And the one other thing I'll just mention too is that you can do more detailed analyses based off the geography that you want to study in terms of your study area or area of interest, but then also the surrounding geographies as well too. So here we're just looking at county to county, but we've done some specialized analysis where we look at, this is the Cloverdale Unified School District, but then it uses as the study areas the census block groups. So this unique polygon here surrounding Cloverdale is the school district. So we can do a similar type of analysis and say within this study area, where are the incoming trips coming into that area? So we see kind of the core of Ukiah, core of the couple of the other cities nearby as well, but also just some of the larger rural census block group just south in Mendocino. So then the other mode of analysis that I want to show you, the primary one, is really looking at kind of the average annual trip per day on roadways. And so I think it'll help if we zoom in a little bit and give it time to process. But essentially that'll give us our daily traffic flow. And so we can filter again by different purposes, times of day, but this is always, of course, the risk of trying to do an online one where it lags a little bit, but the traffic flows are helpful for in some ways doing when you're evaluating what the potential bicycle facilities could be, looking at what types of improvements could be made. So here we can see the Redwood Highway has about, in this little case, in just north of Airport Boulevard, 41,000 daily trips going southbound. You can zoom in and get more detail on the individual roads as well. The time period, in this case, if we go back to the California, I believe we get 2022, 2019, 2023, and that'll just keep adding on to each year. So you can, in a sense, compare from year to year. There's not a great export option. We didn't pitch out the extra thousands of dollars to have a clean export process, but we can still gather all the information. So if there's specific questions that you have and just want to verify something, or even have a specific study that you want to conduct for certain study areas and to understand where that origin and destination evaluation is, we can at least do screenshots or pull some of the numbers into tabular form to make it more useful. Let's see. Yeah, and if you're interested in ever, needing some of this information, Smart came to us, for instance, interested in looking at the kind of Cloverdale and Geyserville stations. Just, yeah, let us know what your parameters are and what your interests in terms of looking at vehicle volume or origin destination, and we can try to pull something together pretty quickly on this. So with that, if anyone has a particular idea of somewhere, either for traffic volume or origin destination, I'd be happy to show you. Also, as you zoom in, I should say, you start to get, here we have the census tract, and then zoom in even further, and we get the census. Oops, too far. Sorry, it's a little slow. Should be the census block group once you get in a little further there. So, but yeah, open to any questions, or if folks want to ask any particular specific questions, happy to give the tool a run.
Question?
Yeah, go ahead, Rachel.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a question for Emily or Adam, but I'm just curious what what analysis you were looking for with this tool, just to get a sense of like use cases.
I think just understanding where
Yeah, I know, sorry.
people are going to and coming from, but I'll let Emily, yeah, answer more.
That's okay. That's what.
I think at a high level, like. Yeah.
Sorry, I think your mic is off. It's hard to hear.
Well, it was already on.
Oh,
You know,
Now it's on.
Oh,
Now
yeah,
it's on.
it's on too.
Geyserville. Oh, now I'm double mic'd. Okay, great. I'm saying the word Geyserville. Yes, yeah. High level for grant applications, because it wasn't included in the original EIR.
Yeah.
And then we had legislation approved several years ago that allowed us to plan for Geyserville Station, and then we put it in the strategic plan. And so now we're pursuing grant funding.
Okay.
So Adam, I know I came in a little late. What's the source of this data? Is it cell phone based data?
yeah, so it's cell phone based data that's then essentially aggregated into kind of trips. So yeah, that's probably the simplest way to get at. There's probably some transponders in vehicles as well, because I think that's where a lot of, like, say, delivery trucks can be accounted for instance. But yeah, that's
And-
the source.
And you know what, trying to zoom in with my eyes, says time period 2023. So do you choose your time period from which the data is sourced? Is like when was the data sampled?
Yeah, so that would be the year that the data is sampled for that time period.
Okay.
Rachel, in response to your question, I've used streetlight data before that I think has a lot of similarities. Some of the uses we used it for is figuring out things like patterns coming into downtown, where people are coming to and from.
Yeah.
You can even make determinations on if people are locals versus tourists from out of state based on how often their cell phones used where.
Yeah, right.
And then when we were working on recreation shuttles, we were able to figure out where people are coming to and from within a larger region, and even like which corridors they use to get to certain areas.
Yeah.
So we found it really helpful. This seems pretty comparable to that.
Yeah. What was the name of your
Streetlight data?
street light data?
Yeah. Is this fairly comparable? Is that something you also looked into?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty close, as I mentioned, when we look at the total trip counts overall, and fairly close also when you look at where trips are going into and out of between counties as well too. This data showed, I think, a little bit higher. The patterns data showed a little bit higher commuting or travel to San Francisco than Streetlight did, which was interesting. but not, I think, anything that was alarming that would make us call into question. But so there are some slight variations, which, yeah, when you're have different sources and different contracts with trying to aggregate and then make these estimations, you kind of assume between these different providers, there'd be some changes.
Like, for example, you could draw a polygon around like downtown Santa Rosa and figure out which main corridors people are using to get there, right? Things like that.
You, in a sense, there's a different, you can't necessarily say corridors, but you can look at, for instance, the which tracks then, and we can expand that then and say most people are coming from, around Santa Rosa into that downtown. This is 2019 also, I should say. But if you're then trying to say, well, let's say it's the morning commute, you can, look at 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and think about what your trip purpose is and try to then refine where what you're actually trying to look for exactly. What are the trips that maybe you can make some assumptions based off these filters would cover.
And I think that, one thing that could be interesting with this tool is, we're going to be looking at opportunities to better connect with smart stations in Santa Rosa. And if there are travel flows that we should particularly prioritize, this is another data point to look at where the OD patterns may be strongest to be able to support those trips with more one-seat rides. So that's something that we might be interested in following up on.
Great. That sounds perfect.
One other question, sorry if I missed this. Is this something we would have access to, or we want to use it, we would reach out to you and coordinate on the analysis we want and you could assist with it?
The latter.
Okay.
Yeah. And it'd probably be similar to this where we could, just do a screen share and talk through, what you're trying to figure out and look at what the data shows. And I can, take screenshots and share. All of these, have figures or have numbers associated with them too, if you need some kind of technical data. So you just kind of have to hover over it and write it down or type it out.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you for the great conversation. And please get in touch if you have any needs.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you. All right, the next item is the draft community-based transportation plans for South Santa Rosa and Rohnert Park. And this is a presentation from Chris.
Yeah, hi everyone. So excited to be here today to give an update on our community-based transportation plans project. So we're nearing the final phase of this project. We have draft plans out that our technical advisory committee is reviewing right now, and just wanted to give you an update on where things are at and timeline for rolling out the plans. So we get situated here so I can walk through this a little easier. All right, so I've presented on the CBTPs in the past, but each of these plans includes, this is just kind of a table of contents for the presentation today. So I'll be talking a little bit about why we're putting together community-based transportation plans, a little bit of information about the community engagement, and then the top priorities. So the main purpose of the program is to get out in the community, identify needs, and come up with some discrete projects to highlight in the plan that we can work towards to implement. So the CBTP program is a regional program. It's funded by MTC and implemented by county transportation authorities like SCTCA. Each plan includes a number of segments, including demographic and data analysis of different areas, getting out in the community, talking to folks about transportation needs and potential solutions, highlighting a community prioritized project list. So what can we do? What can we implement to improve mobility in each of these areas? And then look at implementation. So different funding programs, priorities, responsible agencies, And, you know, these CBTPs are really looking at equity priority communities in the Bay Area. So they're areas that are lower income or that have been disadvantaged in the past in the region. So this is a great question that we heard a lot when we were out in the community. There are a lot of plans out there, right, with project lists already. So why are you doing another plan? So one reason is the CBTPs are really focused on neighborhood groups that have been, you know, maybe their voices haven't been heard, right? So we want to get out and hear from people that we haven't heard from in the past. And the CBTPs and projects that are highlighted in those plans, you know, there's specific funding at the regional level that can implement these projects specifically, and it can help with other grant applications as well. So those are the reasons for another plan. So this round, we actually looked at 2 areas. We've done 4 CBTPs in the past, the Roseland area and Santa Rosa. We've also looked at the Guerneville, Monterey area and the Russian River area, the Sonoma Valley Springs area, and Central Healdsburg. So for this round, we looked at 2 new areas that have been identified as equity priority communities by MPC. One is the South Santa Rosa Avenue corridor in South Santa Rosa and Central Rohnert Park. So you can see maps of each of those locations here. So the team developing the CBTPs is made up of SCTCA staff, City of Santa Rosa and Rohnert Park staff, and a consultant team made up of Fair and Peers, Latino service providers, Eleanor Leschner and Cordoba down in Rohnert Park. And they were led by committees in both areas. We had community representative committees in each area that were made up of community members and you know, interested parties in each of the areas, and then a technical advisory committee made up of potentially implementing agencies like Caltrans, transit authorities. Many of you participated in this process, Safe Routes to School and the Bicycle Coalition. So here's the list of community representatives in Rohnert Park. This is Santa Rosa that I just showed. And then we assembled a single TAC for both areas, since a lot of the people are the same in both areas. So we had 2 rounds of community engagement in each of these areas. So the first phase was actually getting out into the community and asking about potential issues in South Santa Rosa Avenue and Central Rohnert Park. So we had a number of TAC meetings. We had a website and online survey, including a map-based exercise that people could use to drop point locations and provide information on issues that they're seeing at specific locations. We held a number of focus groups, and then we're out in the community at a number of pop-up locations with maps and asking people about issues in each of these areas, writing that information down, and collating that. So here are some pictures from Rohnert Park and Santa Rosa. And here's a list of Rohnert Park specific outreach events. So the main output of that first phase of engagement was a list of potential improvements that could be made in the community. So the second phase of engagement was taking that list out into the community and prioritizing that. So, you know, you identify these crossings, these transit improvements, these speed reductions, what resonates with you and what would you like us to concentrate on? So we held additional TAC meetings and community resource committee meetings to prioritize those projects. We had a web-based outreach component as well, where people could comment on those individual improvements. And then we held a transportation resource fair in each area. The one in Rohnert Park was at John Reed Elementary, and then we held one at Taylor Mountain Elementary up in Santa Rosa. So you can see a few pictures from the transportation resource fairs here. We had 8 to 10 stations at each with a food truck, fun activities for kids, but also 3 stations where people could identify their preferred improvements. So SCTC had buses out, so we appreciated that. People were able to check out the buses.
The
So-
food trucks were a great addition.
Some food
Yeah.
trucks, yeah,
Appreciate it.
tacos, burritos. So we had anywhere from 50 to 70 people at each of the resource fairs. So pretty good turnout and a lot of good feedback on recommended improvements. One thing we did in the Santa Rosa outreach event is we had a road profile board that people could use to put bike lanes, bus stops, crossing improvements, to visualize different types of improvements for the Santa Rosa corridor. So again, here's a list of different partners and a few more pictures of the community resource or transportation resource fairs. You can see some kids checking out the bus down in Rohnert Park. Latino service providers provided support for the Santa Rosa fair. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had good weather, a lot of community participation. So good events. So let's go ahead and look at some of the projects. So we started with a long spreadsheet with a lot of different recommendations. We looked at a number of different categories, including speed management and speed reductions, bicycle and pedestrian improvements, multi-use trail improvements, transit improvements, and then in Santa Rosa specifically, looking at changes to the Santa Rosa Avenue. And I think we're all familiar with Santa Rosa Avenue in the south part of town. It's pretty hard to navigate if you're not in a car. So we wanted to focus specifically on making that corridor easier to use if you're not able to drive or don't want to drive. So moving first to South Santa Rosa, here are the 7 top recommendations identified by the community for improvements in this area. I have this also in tabular format, and I believe we included that in the agenda materials as well. So there's more information there, and there'll be even more information in the draft plans, which will be released next week. So just walking through South Santa Rosa, one recommendation was to install a shared use path on Yolanda between Santa Rosa Avenue and Petaluma Hill Road. Re-envisioning Santa Rosa Avenue was a big one, including speed reductions, improved access to transit stops, bike lanes, improved pedestrian facilities. So there are a lot of issues on that corridor, and those are discussed in some detail in the CBTPs, but we left it in some ways flexible. So as project improvements pop up, they could maybe fit into this category. So there were a few city bus specific recommendations here. One was to explore Route 3 service enhancements, including going a little bit further south, and also looking at crossing Highway 101 in a few spots, providing access at Hearn and Todd Road. Those were the 2 recommendations or desires from the community. Also, recognize the need or desire to see a shared youth pathway on Colgan between Santa Rosa Avenue and Petaluma Hill Road, improve sidewalks on Kiwanis Springs Road, and then improve non-motorized and transit conditions on Petaluma Hill Road as well. And one thing that popped up was access to Taylor Mountain Park as well. So that was mentioned a few times. And, I think the Kiwanis Springs Road improvements and also the Petaluma Hill Road improvements get to that to some extent, along with Yolanda as well. So here's a look at the tabular, the tabular list. So in addition to the maps, we include some descriptions of what could happen in these areas, along with the responsible agencies, whether or not quick build approaches could be appropriate. Really rough cost and time frame estimates, right? Very qualitative, not set dollar amounts. And then priority identified by the communities. So looking down at Central Roanoke Park, we have a similar list here. So, one thing that we heard a lot about was Snyder Lane. Again, it's very auto oriented. There are kids using this corridor a lot. So looking at ways to make that more or easier to travel if you're not in a car. Looking at connections and enterprise drive, especially speed management. Speeds were particularly an issue in Roanoke Park, addressing speeds, especially around schools and areas where people want to walk and bike more. There's a request to add sidewalks to the east side of Seed Farm Drive, and smart or access to the smart station was mentioned quite a bit in that area. And in connection with that project, there is a desire to see a multi-use path on Golf Course Drive on the north side of town, improved transit stop and access improvements kind of in the central area along Commerce and Adrian. So those came up a lot. Re-envisioning Southwest Boulevard, again, that includes speed management and crossings and bicycle pedestrian facilities. Installing buffered bike lanes on Adrian, improving access to elementary school up in the north. There's been some requests for maybe moving some bus stops to improve access to the school up there. So there's a little more detail in the CBTP, and we'll provide those detailed lists that include feedback and recommendations beyond the short list in case you want to see what else we heard. And then one piece of the Roanoke Park CBTP was looking specifically at a bicycle pedestrian overcrossing over Highway 101 at Copeland Creek. So there's a lot of support for that and having a better connection between the west and east side of town. So again, tabular information, including all the information that we compiled for the Santa Rosa project. So a lot of information in there. So right now, the drafts are being reviewed by the Technical Advisory Committee. A lot of you have representatives on that and have had a chance to look at the plan already. We'll be releasing the draft plan next week. The public comment period will end on December 12th. We're presenting the draft plans to our board in December as well. And then we'll make some minor adjustments to the final plans based on public comment, finalizing those by the end of the year. And then looking at next year going forward, we'll be working on implementation. So as funding programs or sources pop up that could be appropriate with these, we'll flag those, let you know. There is a funding program through MTC that's teed up to fund these types of projects as well. So we're hoping to see some of that start flowing next year. So it used to be the Lifeline funding. It's known as CARE now. So we're hoping to see next year some funding for engineering and environmental work on projects, and then probably 2027, hopefully some implementation dollars. And then one thing we do is, as we update our comprehensive transportation plan, is we look back at the project lists in each of the CBTPs and report on progress. So Dana and Steph have done that for the 4 previous CBTPs, and we've done a lot that was actually highlighted in each of those older plans. So we'll do that with these plans going forward as well. So they're useful, and there's some action and forward movement on those. But yeah, great process. Like I said before, we'll share the detailed information as well, so you have access to that. And yeah, if you haven't seen these already, they'll be available next week, and welcome any comments on the draft plans.
Thanks for the overview. I had a couple questions for you, Chris.
Yep.
This may be for you, maybe for Rachel. It looks like part of the South Santa Rosa study was areas south of the city limit, unincorporated.
Mm-hmm.
Is that area intended for future growth, density, possible incorporation in the future?
Yeah. Yeah, so that area is within the urban growth boundary and sort of the Santa Rosa sphere of influence. So down the line, that could be subject to annexation. So I think that's an area in terms of our service, Sonoma County Transit Service, we've always thought about, we need to work together and understand how the roles may change over time. And that's something we're already talking about, right, through all of our planning efforts. So, yeah.
Okay. And then I was wondering for the revision corridors, both in Santa Rosa and Roner Park, are those things where you think additional work is needed, study work, or is there already existing plans for those improvements that are ready to be implemented?
I think the city of Santa Rosa, well, I don't think, I do know that the city of Santa Rosa and Roner Park already have ideas kind of in place for how they could improve that. So we left it purposefully a little flexible, so it can include a lot of things, right? Like an additional study, implementing specific, bus stop improvements, and, filling sidewalk gaps, things like that. So it could include a wide range of different things for sure.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So we're right at the beginning of the cycle 2 funding program and process. So I'm just curious, how do these new priorities, and recognizing they only really relate to Santa Rosa and Roner Park through these CBTPs, but what is the relationship of these new priorities to that funding program, given that we've all already submitted projects, but now we're getting these community-based projects identified through this process?
Yeah, we have all the submissions. So, I believe part of the scoring will include providing support and serving EPCs. So, having a project in a CBTP could definitely, make the case that that project is specifically serving a CBTP. On the Santa Rosa side and Roner Park, I think a lot of these projects could fit within a lot of the submitted projects already. So there's maybe some overlap there. But, certainly going forward to the next funding program, we'd hope that these projects would trickle up into the, submissions by you all as well.
Thanks for the presentation, Chris. Can you just remind me what the deadline is for the TAC review?
TAC review deadline is Friday of this week, and then public comment opens next week through December 12th.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other questions, comments for Chris? All right, thank you.
I just want to say thank you for all the work on it.
Yeah.
It ends up being really helpful work on behalf of the public, the implementing agencies to have all this outreach and this good work done. So thank you.
Yeah, again, great job on the outreach efforts. Yeah.
Well, and thank you for your participation as well. So hopefully it gave you all a chance to talk to people out in the community as well. So yeah, great coordinated effort.
Great partnership.
Yeah.
All right, moving along into transit integration updates. I wanted to share some things specifically about the transit websites today. So I'm gonna share my screen. All right, as I've talked with you all about previously, we're doing a 2-phase transit integration project. The first phase was updating Santa Rosa City Bus's website to put it on the Trillium platform. And that was through a collaborative design with the other local bus operators. And the second phase was to update Petaluma and Sonoma County's transit's websites to match that collaborative design that's already implemented for City of Santa Rosa, and then also to develop a regional landing page for transit that will actually go onto the gosonoma.org website, which as part of the recommendations in the transportation demand management plan, we do plan on doing a kind of an overhaul of that website and promoting it more. So that's where this will end up. And, hoping to really just have a one-stop place that people can go to find transit information. We're kind of closing in on finalizing both the regional or sub-regional transit landing page, as well as the websites for Sonoma County Transit and Petaluma Transit. And we do have a list of comments awaiting already on this landing page, but I wanted to give an opportunity for everybody to discuss it and see if we need to add anything to that list of comments. So it is a fairly basic webpage, has trip planner, a map that shows all of the transit options in Sonoma County, and then links to each of the transit operators' websites here. The maps also will link to the transit websites. So, for example, if I click here, it will actually take me to SMART's website. And similarly, we have links to Mendocino Transit's website and the Amtrak Thruway, which is actually going to be rebranded as the Gold Runner. So yeah, so I working with
Oh, that already happened?
David Sorrell, yeah, got some logos and information for the rebranding, and which I'll be asking to be swapped out for the Amtrak logos, and update the website links as well. I'm just gonna kind of give a little overview on the other updates that we know kind of need to happen here, and then just open it up for discussion and feedback. So for the overview map, we want to add a few kind of identifiers to help kind of actually just be more consistent with some of the other maps. I'm going to put in a label for Annandale State Park, and then around the Santa Rosa or actually, I think mostly the Petaluma circle here. There's sort of this area that pops out here. So if you click on that, that will take you to another web or another tab for Petaluma Transit's service. And then if you click on any of these routes, that'll actually take you to Petaluma Transit's website, which I think this is the draft, right? So since both for Santa Rosa and Petaluma, we don't have the details of the each route on this larger map. We've kind of made these polygons that you can click on and take them to those services. We have recognized that this Petaluma circle kind of goes up into Roanoke Park and Cotati, so we've asked for to kind of reorient that polygon a little bit south and shrink it a bit. And then there are a number of comments that we have made on the schematic maps for both Petaluma and Santa Rosa's tabs here. And those are mostly around kind of adding a little bit of geographic orientation, route, Highway 101, and let's see, yeah, some route adjustments for Santa Rosa's and Highway 12, adding the smart line as well. So a few things like that. I don't think we had any changes to Sonoma County Transit schematic map. It does match what's on their website. So those are really the main things. So I just, yeah, wanted to open up for comments. The web developer does want all of the comments in this this Friday. So
Dana,
yes,
David had made a comment
okay.
online, David.
Hi, I was just mentioning that I can provide a greater detail about our rebranding later on, but I've made the same comments to Dana earlier, mostly because of the rebranding effort. And one of the important aspects of, utilizing throughways is leveraging local transit as well as Golden Gate and Smart to our stations, or at least our transfer points, so that folks that need to get to either Humboldt State or Martinez, where our Route 7 connects through Sonoma County, that's kind of where we would want to see like people utilize it, especially since those are heavily used stops within the county.
Okay, so you're essentially asking about like adding some markers for stops for the
Yes.
governor stops. Okay, great. Thank you, David. And if this is a good time, you're welcome to give a little update on the rebranding right now.
Okay, sure thing. And I won't spend too much time on it, but as effective on the 3rd of November, our branding has changed from the Amtrak San Joaquin's to what's now going to be called Gold Runner. You'll be seeing kind of the slow trickle of changing of the bus stops, changing of our vehicles, is a way to kind of bring in the Gold Runner. We're still providing the same level of service as we have been under the old name. It's just cosmetic changes and things like that. And you'll kind of see this over time. And I think one of the other important aspects is we chose Gold Runner mostly from a connecting community standpoint, considering that our service, both on the throughway buses and Amtrak themselves, connect through the entire state, and that we wanted the service to more or less reflect that. And if you have any questions or if you need the logo or anything like that, please reach out to me.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. I'm just curious about the name change. How did you land on Gold Runner? Just curious.
Oh no, that's a valid question. Our passenger services group did a focus study. This probably was during the time before I came on board in 24. And because we couldn't use terms like Gold Rush or something that would be more, I guess, already trademarked, it would have a better naming convention to reflect what the service actually does, which is to primarily serve through the Central Valley, but connecting the rest of the Golden State. So that's kind of like why we hadn't used like Gold Rush or Golden State or anything like that, because of other concerns that are kind of beyond our control.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Are we open for some
Yes,
more
go
general
ahead, David.
comments? This is the first time I've had a chance to look at it. I would say that the top of the page looks a little sparse. Like if you scroll up to the top, there's a lot of empty space.
Yeah.
Be tightened up a little bit. That would probably help a lot because it doesn't look very dynamic as a result of all that extra space. I would say that when the Gold Runner information is updated, when you hover over the map, it's listed as, Amtrak through a Route 7. So, but if you click down, it says Amtrak San Joaquin's. So if that Amtrak name is what people tend to recognize,
Mhm.
especially with the transition from San Joaquin's to Gold Runner. So we want to keep that Amtrak in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm wondering if, when you hover over the line, if we could maybe say something like Gold Runner dash Amtrak Route 7, bus Route 7 or something like that. I don't know, David, Sorrel, I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on that.
I think Amtrak Gold Runner, minus the dash would be fine. Have the top line mention Amtrak Gold Runner, and then on the bottom line, throughway bus Route 7.
Okay, great. And so that is remaining Route 7, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
I think it's also important to continue to indicate that it's a bus route for people that are outside of the area, that are assuming that there's a train coming through.
Right. Not an Amtrak train anyway.
Right.
And I would say in terms of interface, I think that I appreciate the concept, but I think the actual interface of clicking on the map, it's very I don't know, I would say esoteric to the regular person. Especially the overview page really has the Sonoma County transit routes dominating. And I feel like the overview should be something more geographically based, at least with landmarks and that sort of thing. And that maybe treats each type of service a little bit more equally. And then you can click on the tabs like specific to Sonoma County Transit, Santa Rosa City Bus, Petaluma Transit, regional connections, that sort of thing. Yeah, I just don't think that this interface, based on my experience, with what we do at Golden Gate, I don't think this interface is particularly customer friendly. But I like the idea. I just feel like it needs some refinement.
Yeah, thank you for that comment.
Also, you can click on some of the numbers, but not other numbers.
Hmm.
So there should probably be some consistency there.
Okay, yeah.
Although I would advocate, the overview page wouldn't have any numbers at all.
Yeah, I mean, there may be a way to simplify. Yeah, a good point that you can't click on all of them. I didn't realize that.
It looks like the local ones aren't activated. In Run Park County, at least.
The map is kind of similar with the website, then, so there's a lot of empty space there. So I would say feel free to use more of the space. It'll make it a little easier to interact with as well.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Yes.
Exactly.
Those are great comments.
Yeah, great.
It took forever for us to update our website, so I'm not one to to say.
Yeah, the design of this has been challenging. All right. If anybody has any additional comments that they think of later or want to get to me, feel free to just send me an email with those comments and I'll compile everything and get over to the developer. Yeah, I think my deadline is Friday, so if you give me anything by the end of the day tomorrow, that'd be great.
Oh, quick question. Did you want to switch to the Golden Gate Transit logo specifically? The one that's kind of what
You know what,
us?
actually, I had talked with Dana
Okay.
about that and I do have it, so
Oh, great.
I'll make sure that that is on my list to swap that out.
Yeah, I figure it might be a little more understandable.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Can I ask one more?
Yeah,
question? Can
absolutely.
you go back up to the map real quick?
Mhm.
I'm like squinting at this. I mean, I've seen it several times, but squinting at it today. So down just north of Petaluma, so there's like the Route 10, the Route 12. Are those is that the Petaluma Transit 10? What are the 10, 12?
That's the local Roanoke Park County routes versus.
So we actually have like 3 different Route 10s in the county.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think you need to reduce the radius for Petaluma, so it doesn't include those 10, 12, 14 routes. That might, but you're right, there's several routes that are duplicate.
Yeah, and that was something that actually came up
Duplicative.
in back in ties, I think. It just,
Yeah,
there were maybe, it was 10 and 12, if I'm recalling correctly, that
there's 3
there's
route 10s.
duplicates of, and
You have a 12?
something.
We don't have 12, we have 10.
We got a 10, you got a 10, and you got a 10.
You got a
Okay.
24 too. Do you have a 24? 24 runs, 24 going twice.
Is your 10 and 12 all intra-city within one city, those routes?
Say that again, sorry.
Do they run exclusively within one city or do they traverse?
Well, the local 10 is Roanoke Park, Cotati. Actually, it's mostly in Cotati, but it serves Roanoke Park as well.
Okay, because I know with the map, the intention was somewhat with that one to show the intercity regional ones, right?
Yeah,
Not list every route, like all the local ones included.
Well, we've got Cloverdale, Healdsburg, Windsor,
Mhm.
Sebastopol, and we've got a lot of other local routes in there. We could maybe reposition them on the map, so it's not so bunched up.
yeah, I'm wondering if, kind of to David's point too, if we were to take out the route numbers and have like a Cloverdale, Healdsburg, Windsor, and then a Roanoke Park, Cotati bubble. Um, rather than the route numbers, and then that would kind of simplify this, and like the 10 isn't, you can't click on, or the 12. You can only click on the 14 for some reason. Nope, you can't click on that either.
Work in
So,
progress.
I think maybe there's a way to simplify this, for at least for the local circulators, to just have the city names and have those so you could hover over them, and
I like that, yeah.
maybe there's some more discussion to be had around the
Well,
regional routes.
the other local routes have city names next to them, but not the 10, 12, 14. So maybe add Roanoke Park, Cotati adjacent to the 10, 12, 14 buttons or something.
Right, the label is kind of over here, a little misplaced.
Yeah.
Oh, it's over to the other side of the
Yeah.
freeway. Yeah.
To address the negative space and the labeling that everyone is mentioning, maybe we can have a legend on the left side with all of the routes and the name of the route, the number and the color.
Yeah, we may need to do that for all services though, which would get really long. But yeah, thank you for your comment. Okay, well, I think we have some ideas. If anybody thinks of anything else or has anything else, let me know.
By the end of the day on Friday. Yeah.
Thursday.
Oh, it's Thursday. I think sure. Okay.
Friday is the CB.
Dang.
I'll just have
corrected
one
me
more
there.
thing, which is
Right.
I would also say consider consistency with the regional mapping and wayfinding project. I know that that's still in like a 0.9 and not an official, but we're pretty much set on a scheme at this point for mapping. So I'm not saying you have to use the exact same colors and everything, but
Yeah.
if visually was more consistency, that would help. I know, with mascots coming online in April, at Golden Gate, we'll be doing the same thing where we try to have not necessarily 100% match, but visually have a little more consistency with that new regional standard.
Yeah, thanks. And I thought we had tried to do that, and maybe all that really came out of it was this blue and gold labels here. But that's a good point to the mapping piece.
Because it will eventually tie into the bus stop signs
Yeah.
and station signage. So. And Stanford's not here, so I don't think we have that color issue that they're dealing with in the peninsula.
Oh, they don't like the cow color?
Oh, Stanford. So the issue is Palo Alto is one of the
Yeah.
pilot hubs, and it's, I guess, UC Berkeley colors.
Yeah.
I think of they look like Santa Cruz Metro colors to me. That's what I think of initially, but it's an issue in Palo Alto.
Oh,
Apparently.
interesting.
If people don't like our Seahawks buses, so it happened. We got that.
Need gold and red or something.
Not enough colors out there to choose from.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all. That was helpful. in terms of other updates for local bus operator integration, I don't really have anything to report this month. I think there's, been a lot of focus on other planning efforts like mascots and treats and other than, there was coordination on Fair Free Day on
Election day.
Election Day.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I have anything else to report unless anybody else here can think of anything. Okay, great. Well, then let's move on to regional meeting report outs. I'll open it up to anybody who may have something.
I can walk.
Usually have, yeah.
Dana, I can share a few items from the MTCA Bag Regional Planning Program Bulletin if people are interested, and we can share this if you want more information. But
Right.
the main bullets here are modifications to federal DBE regulations. So that may be impacting some of you. There's more information here. Plan Bay Area 2050 Plus is out for review and public comment. So the EIR and the draft plan are all available along with supplemental reports. So MTC is holding Zoom public hearings as well. So those are kind of happening across the Bay Area. There are a few regional housing technical assistance program webinars available, one on new state housing laws and wildfire and housing. There's a call for projects open for the PCA program, Priority Conservation Area Grant Program. So I know Santa Rosa received one as part of the last round for the Greenway. Petaluma submitted a few and didn't get them, so maybe an opportunity for round 2. So that's open right now. The letter of interest for that program, letters of interest are due December 19th. There's a call for projects for the Bay Area Traffic Incident Management Microgrant Pilot. And then there is a webinar focused on navigating California's changing energy policy. So Don, I can provide this if we want to send it out after the fact. But yeah, MTCA Bag provides this to us every month or so. So if you're interested in receiving those, let me know and we can get it out. But just a few MTCA Bag things.
Thanks, Chris. Any other regional updates?
Chris covered Transit 2050 Plus already, so I'll just mention that regional mapping and wayfinding project. On Thursday, they had the 3rd draft of the bus stop design guidelines. They had a Zoom session on that. Comments are due the 24th. It's been an iterative process, and it's it seems like they're doing a decent job of mixing comments from a couple dozen different transit agencies into one regional set of guidelines. I think from Golden Gate's perspective, we're okay with most of it. I think our primary issue is the size of the signage that they're proposing, and we don't think it's going to work. But
It's too small,
too big.
too big.
Their smallest sign is 20 by 30 inches. Our largest sign currently is 18 by 24.
Yeah.
So
That's what I
it's
was
a substantial size
That
difference.
is big.
So we'll see where that goes. I think the 20 by 30 signage works fine at transit hubs, but when you're out on the street, it's a very different story. So we'll see how that goes.
That's good.
But that's an issue that Golden Gate's had. But some agencies, it sounds like they already have larger signs in use, so they're less concerned.
Who?
I think Soul Trans has really large signs. But interestingly, County Connection, who also has fairly large signs, was concerned with the slight additional increase because I think theirs were 20 by 24 or something. They're like, it's a little big even for us. So we'll see how it goes. But that's one aspect of many different things in the package.
And you mentioned that to them.
Yes.
They're trying to fit in as much information as they can.
They want to cram in a lot of information on the
They
signs,
need a
yes.
bigger sign.
And so you need a bigger sign because if you want to maintain ADA standards with the amount of text that they're proposing,
Yeah.
it just ends up with a much bigger sign.
Do you all mount them consistently, like grabbing it on the side or mounting it to the post in the center? Is it very?
Our mounting techniques vary, and the draft guidelines also accommodate various mounting techniques, and that'll help, in some locations, but I think some spaces will still be pretty tight. I don't think our existing mounting hardware will work with the size of sign that's being proposed. At least that's what I've been told by our maintenance team. Kind of shrieked in horror when they saw the full-size printout in the hallway in our office. They're like, that's the smallest sign, not the biggest one.
And then on mascots, we should probably update on that. I think a lot of it's currently with Golden Gate. I don't know if you want to give an update on those dates.
Sure, yeah, now we're in our update section is fine. So we'll be going back to Transportation Committee on let's see, what's next Thursday, on the 20th, and then to our board on the 21st. It's the same package that we took last month, which was held over. But we'll have an additional piece, a page or so, talking about the pilot project to provide some late night bus service between Marin and Sonoma, which was the sticking point for approval from our board. So fingers crossed for approval with that additional piece. And then we're still on track for April 12th.
Yeah, and the mascots policy advisory committee met last week on the 6th. We're still fine tuning, I think, two loose end items still in there. One is the paratransit service that'll run beyond the extended hours, so no one's kind of left off that. And then the second one being this late night service and what, if anything, that looks like and how we would phrase that type of service, call it likely something like a transitional service, and then figuring out who would operate any such service and how many trips, if any, are provided. So I think those are kind of the two remaining loose ends that we're still tying up with the study. Anything I'm missing on that?
Any other regional updates? Should we move on? Okay, let's go to transit operator updates. Jared, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. So for Petaluma Transit, our September fixed route ridership was up 9.4%. Paratransit up 14.3%. So that's good news. With Lumigo, we still continue to see slight but steady increases on that service for microtransit. Speaking of Lumigo, we did make a change. It's a small one to our phone system. So if you call in now, there's now an option to check the status of your call, check the status of your trip or cancel it. And that's being done externally in partnership with VIA. So hopefully that improves service for people using that service. Our facility electrification capital project comes along well. We did groundbreaking on that about a month ago. Our current timeline is hopefully having everything done by the end of the calendar year, but we have our switchgear installed. We have our green tag installed, PG&E meter. PG&E was supposed to do the installation of their transformer this week, but unfortunately we've had good weather, but now hitting some bad weather starting this week. So we've been a little bit ahead of schedule, but we'll see how that shakes out over the next week or two. And we'll be doing some sort of ribbon cutting kind of launch of that. We're still figuring out the date, but probably around mid-January once everything's ready to go. Yeah. Our electric cutaways, we finalized our PO, our purchase order on that. So we'll be ordering those, expecting receipt of those in about 2 months. It's kind of the schedule we're looking at right now. And then we're hoping to go to council probably in January to buy 4 more electric fixed route vehicles as well. Kamir Araceli, are you online? I can't see the list. And if so, do you want to give an update on any grants or marketing items?
I'll go first, I guess, Kamir. I've been slowly getting up to speed in terms of marketing and social media and all those things for Petaluma Transit. As I don't know if you all recall from the last meeting, but I just started in September. Um, so I've set up our Instagram account. I've been trying to stay active with Facebook as well. And other things in terms of marketing that I've been working on are simplified versions of our rider guides, both for paratransit and our normal fixed routes. I want to have one pager flyers that I can use when going out to tabling events as opposed to just handing out the rider guides as our marketing material. So those are some of the projects that I'm working on currently. And as we get closer to the ribbon cutting event, I'll start drafting a flyer, a promotional flyer for that, an invitation so that we can share it with all of you.
And a couple quick things on the service update. On Veterans Day, yesterday, we had a bus in the parade, and then we ran on a Sunday service. And then for upcoming on Thanksgiving, we have no service. Day after Thanksgiving, run on a Sunday holiday schedule.
Yeah. Any questions? No. All right, Camille, you're up.
We've applied or are currently applying for various grants right now. The one that we submitted today was for the Safe Access for All, which is for TNCs and local operators. So I'm curious to see how that turns out. And then we'll also be submitting by the end of next week the Caltrans Sustainable Communities Planning Grant. So those are some of the main ones that we recently applied for, but we've been trying to find anything that will help with operations. So I'm sure as all of you are looking at as well.
And we're still awaiting word on our Lono and bus facility grants on the federal side. Not the most optimistic outlook there, but hopefully we'll hear back soon. Thank you both. I'm trying to see if we have anything else. A couple other quick things. Luma Ice is coming back this year, starts December 10th. So stay tuned for that. That's the ice rink. And then the city will be holding a joint meeting of the Transit Advisory Committee and the Pedestrian Bike Advisory Committee on December 3rd to talk about the Lakeville Highway Corridor Study, working in conjunction with SCTCA staff. And that's it.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, I don't think I have a ton new from last month. We are expecting our Gilligs, 6 electric Gilligs to arrive in the next few weeks. They're just waiting on the seats. I think we all know this story. But I think some of you were Gillig and New Flyer joined up and bought American Seating as a way to get seats more expeditiously. And I thought that was some pretty creative work right there. So, but the buses are essentially ready aside from a few of those items, which is very exciting. So looking forward to getting those vehicles in. We're at 90% design for our phase 2 charging infrastructure, getting some feedback there. So looking forward to keeping that project moving along. The city's electrification master plan is going to council next week. So that's, citywide, similar to what Petaluma did. Looking certainly not just at transit, but the whole city fleet and charging energy needs and fleet transition planning. I think that's about it for right now. Thanks.
Your phase 2, does that go to bed like early 2026?
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Yeah.
It's like
Is
you're
it
at a
my
press-
turn?
You're at a press conference here.
Yeah. Ad for smart. Sorry, we have some stuff going on right now. Riderships remain strong. I'm trying to think the only special service coming up is we're running night service back from Windsor's holiday tree lighting. If anyone wants to take the train to the tree lighting on December 4th. Windsor's been very proactive about reaching out to us and offering to pay. They're paying us to run extra night service.
Wow.
Interesting new precedent. We haven't had communities do that before other than like the Marin County Fair, something like that. So that's been really interesting to see, though. Once we start running the mascot service, it'll just be the normal service. So
they can still pay though if they want.
Seriously, just charge those nights. I mean, initial work for Healdsburg continues. Trying to think if I have anything else to add. We're having Mark from Bike Share come to our board meeting in November, which I guess is next week, to do a 1-year summary for the board. So that should be interesting. Yeah, nothing's coming to mind right now.
You're gonna yield your time to Sonoma County Transit? Yeah, thank you. So I've got some real exciting news. And I've mentioned this multiple times in the past, but we were waiting on a bus duct for our charging station. And it's related to switchgear. And we got a package last week, which is part of the bus duct. And the second half is arriving this week. So we're super excited. We're gonna get that project back on track finally. And we're thinking early 2026, depending on PG&E's availability. And spring 2026, maybe at the latest. In the meantime, we've got a couple of 35-foot BYDs that are going to be delivered. They're a little bit tardy, but they'll get here by the end of the calendar year. So they'll add to our fleet. And then Charles, my co-worker, is actually down at Gillig in Livermore as we speak, going down the list of order issues for our first order of 7 Gilligs that has actually been bumped up again, and we're due to arrive or receive those by May of 26. So just in time for the finishing of our charging station, which is exactly how we planned it.
That's right. Well done.
Isn't it? I gotta plug that. Oh, and then to add icing to the cake, we got approved by the Board of Supervisors for our new CAT AVL. So
great.
we're gonna be a GMV partner with our couple of our other agencies, and they're gonna try to hit the ground running. I mean, it takes some time to ramp up, but we hope to have a substantial amount of it in place by early next calendar year and feed data, especially into the archery study.
You guys got a shout out at CTA from Alex Fay. So just FYI.
We what?
Alex Fay from GMV gave Sonoma County Transit a shout out in his remarks at CTA for being
nice.
a new customer. So
Great. Yeah, we're excited.
Appreciate
We're very optimistic. Thank you.
Thanks.
I yield my time.
Let's see, updates from the Bridge District, looking at year-over-year data for September. There was one more weekday in 2025 than 2024. So the good news is we have increases in everything, but not substantial enough to maybe offset the fact that there is one additional weekday. But bridge traffic was up 1.4%. Bus ridership was up 11.2%, which I guess would be high enough to more than account for the extra weekday. And then ferry ridership was up 3.1%. So things are still on an upward trend, which is good to see. The big thing for us right now is getting ready for Clipper 2.0 transition, which I'm sure all of you are dealing with as well. But a pretty big deal for us just because Marine Transit will be separating out of our system. And they're going to be programmed very differently than they are currently. And we have a lot of overlap in terms of our ridership base. So starting December 10th, I think will be an interesting time for us. Fingers crossed. And I see TCRP recently came out with a synthesis report on planning and operations initiatives to support nighttime transit ridership. I took a quick look at it. We already run late night service. I didn't really learn anything particularly new out of it, but it could be interesting to whoever decides to start running the late night transit service as I look at Sonoma County Transit. I think I mentioned this before, but we will not have a January service change since we're getting ready for mascots in April. We're looking at updating our mapping and the transit guide in general as part of that change because our service will be substantially different. So The transit guide will still exist in print format, but we might, in addition to updating all of the maps, we might have individual route maps or something that's a little bit more user friendly as part of the transition. Now that we have the real estate in the print material itself for that sort of information. And we have, more robust online information now. So we don't necessarily need to show bus stops on a system map and that sort of thing anymore. So we'll be working through that over the next few months so that we're ready to launch in April. Pending board approval, of course.
Okay. Thanks, David. David Sorrell, did you have any updates for the group other than the branding transition?
Nope. Gold Runner is the big news.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to other business comments or announcements.
Something just popped into my head. Golden Gate will still move away from paper transfers with other agencies. I don't know if we want to revisit that topic with the local operators, especially since we'll have a much reduced footprint in Sonoma County. Maybe it'll be a little easier for everybody to accept. So maybe I'll just email the group and we can start that discussion again. Great.
What would the timing of that be? With the Clipper?
Well, it sounds like it's a 3 to 4 month transition period. So the soonest that we could do something would be like 4 months after December 10th. So that either it rolls out with mascots or we just wait until July 1st, along with all the other fare changes under the sun. So we can discuss that. We haven't set anything in place yet.
Have all the agencies received the new CST, the new version of the tote, or not?
Ours is being installed as we speak.
Wow.
Yeah, ours was installed last week.
Or sorry, the new version of what?
The tote, it's called the CST, the Clipper transaction.
Oh.
terminal.
Customer service.
Oh, yeah,
terminal.
yeah.
You already got it, okay. We've had ours a couple weeks, still working out the bugs with it, so.
All right. Now we can adjourn. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.